Hi, my name is Merle Dandrige, and I'm at the FrConventions. My audition process for Station 19, I did not audition for Station 19. It was offered to me. It was offered to me a 5-episode arc, and I was like, sure, yeah, that sounds good, especially I knew some of the people involved, and I loved the character and how she began and how she came in so strong. And then they asked me to stay, and the answer had to be yes, to walk out a character that strong and dynamic and interesting. Yes, I think that, it's really interesting because right after my first episode aired, and I was touted as the first female fire chief of Seattle, then Los Angeles had its first female fire chief right after that. And I love how art imitates life sometimes, and that must have, those things were probably happening at the same time, making sure that she got into that office. But I find that what we put on the screen is important commentary and a hopeful nature for what we want to mirror to our culture and our society. So a couple of things were really important about that, putting a woman in power like that, and also showing how that might create some backlash and how one has to persevere and fight through that people who break glass ceilings don't do it with ease and open skies. It happens with grit, it happens with perseverance and taking a lot of blows in the process. What I also liked about Natasha Ross is that I was able to play her as half Korean as me. And that's something that I hadn't seen on TV before. And speaking Korean was important to me, even though my Korean's a little, but as the diaspora is shifting, putting that on network television was a big deal, and it meant a lot to me. Any pressure? No, it just felt natural to do that and to show a woman contending with a lot of the things that we do. Trying to have relationship and ambition at the same time. Trying to be soft while still needing to have a hard exterior at work. Trying to be fair and making mistakes and then trying again. All of those things I found so human and wonderful. I think that some of Natasha's missteps were circumstantial, some of them probably accidental, whether who she was promoting and this kind of thing. But at the core of it, what I do like is that she's not perfect. And none of us are. So when we try to do the virtuous thing, sometimes we misstep, sometimes we're misunderstood, and in that I felt like a very true journey was carved out for her. Do I think she handled the expectations of the moral compass versus the expectations of the whole world? At times, I thought she was a rock. And there were times where I thought, oh, girl, you could have done better. And she knew that too. But I loved that about her. I loved it. And I loved that she was always striving to be better and getting up to try one more time. Well, first of all, shout out to the iconic Boris Kodjoe, a wonderful scene partner and a perfect gentleman. And a very good friend. So we were able to have a trust to be able to go there and be vulnerable. And I will go right back to the moment that I met him, which was on set the day that I had those big speeches when I first came in, and I had to do it in front of the entire cast. Oh, well, you want to talk about intimidating when you walk into a new room and they're all watching you and you're walking up and down the line giving 2-page monologues. Intimidating. And I will say, that on that day I was struggling because I was nervous. Danielle helped me run lines. in the green room, which was very sweet. I'll never forget that. But with Boris, whenever I endeavored for a character, I always bring a full backstory and a full history. It doesn't always have to align with the other actor, but bringing all those ideas make the moments richer, so you don't have to say anything, you can just see it in the eyes. There's, especially on camera. So as soon as I met Boris, I was an unknown to him. He was like, who is this girl? And I don't know anything about her, but I said, hey Boris, I have this idea about, this is about our history, and then this happened and this happened. What do you think about those? Do those align with you? And he liked them all. So right from the beginning, when I'm marching up and down the aisle and we catch eyes, there's already a history, from the moment that we met. And I think that's preparation, and carving out a whole full character when you walk into the room only makes all ships rise, So as we moved forward, Boris and I were just game. We were game for anything, and it made for great safety and great, fireworks. It was really lovely. With the great Jaina Lee Ortiz playing Andy Herrera, who is always ready to push the boundaries, and the way that we the characters were dissonant at times, but also always in respect. We always saw, game respects game. And I think we saw a lot in each other. So there was a kind of distant sisterhood that you can kind of feel. And sometimes, in the same way that Natasha did, Andy fell short. And she knew it. And I had to call her on it as her mentor, as her boss. And then when she did great, same thing. Like, man, that was awesome. And that, to me, is real sisterhood, real, the real bond. Which we also had off screen, which was great. Well, Maya can be a loose cannon, so Maya can do just about anything. So you never know how she's going to react, and in this one, she kind of took a slightly underhanded turn, and when we got that script, both Danielle and I were excited because it made these fireworks. And so there was one time when she came in to blackmail us, and I on the way out, I think just without thinking, I just kind of nudged her like this, and I was like, oh my God, Danielle, I'm so sorry I did that. She was like, Merle, that was great. And we tried to recreate it, and we just couldn't. So they just took the first take. But the absolute just kind of, is fun. It's fun to, and also if you have to play a villainous character, or someone who is having a villainous motivation at the time, you also know that it's steeped in pain. You know where it's coming from. You know why she's doing it, which is why you never lose that love for Maya. But yeah, with Natasha and her, tumultuous, of course. But I think that Natasha was looking for that same kind of mentorship, mentor-mentee, building up a more women kind of vibe between her and Maya, but they just kept missing each other. It just kept being just slightly, when she would show her hard love, maybe it was too hard, or when Maya would take it the wrong way, or maybe they would just misspeak to each other. And that just made for great TV, honestly. I mean, because we're talking about it, right? I was really glad when the show was canceled. Of course, we were very sad. But the showrunners at that time, Peter Page and Zoe Clack, were very adamant about launching these characters into a full life moving forward. And one of those things that they gave me toward the end was a full family life, bringing my sister in, played by the iconic and amazing Yoon Jin Kim, who I've been a fan of for a very long time. And there was a lovely thing happening there. And so, you could see the families with Sullivan and her family starting to mesh with her sister, and him reaching some kind of shared love, and even launching into my sister marrying Josh's character, which I thought was hilarious. I was proud that she became mayor. I was proud that her husband was able to realize his dreams, and that, you know, in this supposed imagined future that we had, that we could see them thriving and living out the things that they had always had in their heart. That's special.